Hey guys, I'm back with another video about Bryan Johnson. I just reviewed the videos that you guys want me to. He seems to be a hot topic right now. Let's check out the thumbnail before we start the video. On the left side there's Leon Hendricks. I already reviewed one of his videos in the past. He's 27. I would say that he looks slightly older. I would have guessed that he's around 30. And then there's Bryan Johnson on the right side. There's question marks where his age is supposed to be, which I assume is supposed to imply that he's younger than he looks like. As in, guess what age he is? You wouldn't be able to guess it. He's 45. I wouldn't say that he looks younger than 45. He still has hair, which may give you the illusion that he's younger, but some 70-year-old guy could put on a wig, which is realistic looking, and people may guess that he's actually younger than he is, but that's only an illusion. It's not his actual biological age. And it's the same case here. Below the neck, he looks like he works out, and that's because he's on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. He uses those patches, and that's because he can't naturally produce enough testosterone. So if anything, he's actually proving that he's unhealthy and that his method is not working. Otherwise, he would be able to produce enough testosterone naturally, but of course he can't because his body fat is too low, and that's why he's generally showing signs of deterioration. When bodybuilders inject testosterone, then they will convert a lot of it into estrogen, which is why they need to take special pills to try to stop this conversion. But he most likely doesn't do that, which is exactly why he's showing all of these signs of femininity.
This is Bryan Johnson, a biohacker who spends $2 million a year to look like his 18-year-old self again. Personally, not a huge fan. I mean, where's my chin? I look like a... Anyways, Bryan sold his tech company for $800 million, and now he's focused on reversing his biological age. At the current rate, he is projected to live to 200, and he's developing a protocol for
That's definitely gonna happen.
all of us to potentially do the same. He invited me and Kyle to his house in Los Angeles and showed us things that could literally add another 10
The way he looks like, I would really be worried if he's actually gonna reach the age of 60 even. I'm not joking. He could seriously get sick from this.
10 years to your life. We're on our way to Bryan Johnson's place.
What do you want to ask him?
I just want to know what we should be doing now in order to maybe add another 10 healthy years to our lives. As I'm slowly getting older,
Yeah, man, you're gonna learn it from a guy who eats a vegan diet. He does take some supplements which are supposed to synthetically replace the vitamins that you can get from plants, and there's over 15 micronutrients that you can get from plants, which means that he's malnourished. Of course, he doesn't understand that, and that's exactly why he's gonna get seriously sick eventually.
realize how fast life is flying by, and it's scary. What if this is the guy who goes down in human history as the human being that cracked the code on aging and maybe even eternal life?
Yeah, for sure. The only thing that he's gonna prove is that vegan diets kill you and that supplements don't help. That's about it.
How's it going?
Good, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What's on the schedule for you today?
For real?
Come on, man, look at him. He doesn't only look old, he looks really, really sick. If I would see him in real life, and he probably looks worse in real life, then I would think that he's a chemo patient. I'm not saying that to offend him or anybody. Literally, that's what I see there, a chemo patient. The dark eye circles alone and the low body fat makes him look like that.
Yeah. Bryan's day starts with a program he calls Blueprint, a 5-hour daily routine put together by a team of 30 doctors for perfect health. After 7 months of this, he's already reduced his age by over 5 years, setting a...
Says who? Where's the proof? How do you measure this? I never heard any explanation for that.
world record in age reversal. I also recently took my own test to find out my biological age.
Are you hungry? You gonna eat some food?
Yes, dying to have your food.
Okay,
I'm
great.
living to have your food.
Okay. The first thing in the morning is the green giant. Collagen peptides, creatine, 2 point.
Alright, water, what's the point? Whatever. Collagen peptides, I guess that he wants to stimulate the natural production of collagen, but you could also simply eat raw animal products and get it right from the animal. It's not gonna work when you're so malnourished, obviously. Creatine, again, you easily get that from raw meat. The powder is toxic, of course. Everything that's green is toxic in general. Amino complex, probably again some amino acids, which you could get from simply eating meat. Cacao flavonols, already talked about this. Cinnamon is very toxic. I don't understand why he takes all of these toxins. I can only assume that he read some random studies or somebody told him that it's somehow an antioxidant or something like that. It'll probably have something to do with aging in the studies, but obviously there's no actual proof for that. You can't take something toxic and prevent aging.
5 grams.
I'm more of a 2.6 gram type of guy. I'm happy to try this out.
We can have our differences and be friends. All right, so whoever wants his first glass.
All right, let's see how we do.
Yeah, we
Looks insanely toxic.
get the reactions on this.
The reaction says everything.
I'm a fan.
What do you think? What are you doing?
It tastes like nutrition. Yeah.
It doesn't taste like freaking nutrition. What tastes like nutrition would be liver.
I think a lot of people are watching this video and they wonder, what is he eating? What are the supplements he's taking? What are the exercises that he's doing? So that I can do them as well. And I think that's the wrong approach. Bryan's approach is very different and it changed my perspective on how to approach health.
Basically, the question we were trying to ask scientifically was, if you just basically made my body a
What's wrong with these fingernails?
controlled experiment, what could you do with the body? Like, how much could you slow the speed of aging? I've spent millions of dollars doing the first step of measuring everything we can. So we use MRI, ultrasound, DNA methylation, microbiome.
Man, with that money, you could have bought a farm and have your own grass-fed animals, or get the best imported seafood from deep in the ocean. Jesus, what a freaking waste.
Everything we can measure. And we look at the evidence and we say, what does the evidence say to do, to how to achieve optimal health? And then we implement it. Even with these 2 years of kind of messing around with blueprints, we've dramatically slowed my speed of aging. I'm now
Age 35, 45. He looks a lot better in the picture where he's 35. Obviously, he's also 10 years younger there. Generally, no matter if you're a man or a woman, having some body fat makes you automatically look younger and just better, more attractive. That kind of a low body fat looks abnormal. And the only reason he doesn't look like a stick is because he's on TRT. If he wasn't, he would look even worse. And it's funny because I assume that that's how they kind of measure health or youth, by how many pull-ups, push-ups you can do, or how long you can run, or some kind of nonsense, even though that has nothing to do with youth, obviously. But they look at his body and then they compare it to the other guy in the thumbnail. And it's basically as if they delusionally believe that he is younger because he's on TRT, even though it has nothing to do with aging.
aging at a rate slower than the average 10-year-old. We've been able to do that with just 2 years of playing around. It's reasonable for us to say, what can we be in 20 years? It's a cool question. It's no longer like, well, I probably won't be able to walk anymore, my knees will probably be giving out, and my back will probably hurt. We don't have to make those assumptions anymore.
He always thinks 5 levels deep. For example, with his diet, surface level 1, people just think this food is good, this food is bad. Going a level deeper is having specific diets, looking at the actual studies, but you still see a lot of things that are confusing or just conflicting. For example, you can feel great on a keto diet, but if you have a certain genetic predisposition to Alzheimer's, it increases your risk by...
It's not even necessarily about ketones, but in every case that I've seen, if you start eating more fat, then your Alzheimer's is going to go away. And you could easily completely heal everybody from Alzheimer's if you would simply feed them raw brain. Within a few weeks, every case of Alzheimer's on this earth would go away if all of those people would simply eat raw animal brain.
multitudes. And as you go even deeper, it's more about, hey, try out yourself and see how you feel. That's what my best understanding was up until this point.
So what do you think about intuition?
Generally speaking, I don't trust my intuition at all. So this is funny. I do.
Oh my god, that sums up his lifestyle perfectly. Because everything that he does, it's so nice that he admitted it, everything that he does completely goes against his intuition, what his body actually wants. Because our bodies absolutely tell us what is healthy for us, how not to age. Everything that is good for us, we already know. It tells you exactly what food is healthy for you. It tells you exactly what to do not to age. For example, your body tells you not to exercise because the less you exercise and the less stress you have in your life, the less you're going to age. Whereas he works out every day. He completely goes against his intuition. His body tells him not to drink that green toxic garbage, but he still does because he goes against his intuition. His body is telling him it's toxic, don't drink it, it's going to age you, but he still does. Oh, yeah. Yeah, perfect summary of his freaking disaster of a life.
do 125 mcgs of liquid iodine a day. So it's just 1 drop and it tasted really good. And I thought, does that mean my body wants more? So I started doing 2 drops a day and I get my labs back and my team's like, wait a second, this marker doesn't make any sense. And I was like, okay, I have a confession to make. And so every time I've used my senses to make a change in the routine.
You don't eat anything natural whatsoever. How can you even rely on your senses when it comes to anything that you do in everyday life? Because if you only use supplements and some kind of tinctures and whatnot, how can they even measure what is good for you if everything that you do is bad for you anyway? Oh.
It shows up in the data and the team instantaneously knows.
This is the 5th level. Bryan doesn't just go based on how he feels or what the studies say, he measures his own data. So the first big thing for me is feelings are nice, but data is king. Data can still mislead you. So it's not perfect, but it's better.
Yes.
And Bryan has data on everything. He even built an at-home clinic for weekly testing.
What's your favorite piece of tech?
They're all my favorites.
It's like his children.
Yeah, all of them equally. They're all special. I'll show you why they're special. So this is multispectral imaging for face age. This is medical grade ultrasound. So we use this for whole body imaging. So this is cool because also I can look at the efficacy of my workout routines. I can look at muscles in a hypergranular.
I only see a very exhausted, worn out, malnourished, middle-aged woman when I see him.
way so I can see, is my muscle growing? This over here is high frequency electromagnetic.
None of this matters until you apply this next lesson we learned from him.
And so even if somebody knows something's bad for them, it's still sometimes impossible to stop that bad behavior. We have a society that celebrates addiction. When you guys came here today,
yeah. Oh my God, the irony.
You probably passed 30 fast food restaurants. You can be on your phone addicted to your algorithms. You've got alcohol opportunities. And then if you don't participate in that, people are like, you're weird.
And it's celebrated because it's like part of living life.
Yeah, they say.
Yeah, that's all bad, but exercise is also a religion nowadays. And a lot of guys, most young guys nowadays believe that they need to exercise to be a true alpha male or whatever nonsense. And if you don't, it's also almost as if you're an outcast.
Say, like, if you can't live life like that, it's not worth living. Like, you must be miserable.
There's so much emotions to unpack in the behavior that drives that sort of thinking. How did you unpack that for yourself?
I shifted control from my brain to my body. Just said, all right, organs, you do your thing, I'll watch. We think our brain is the #1 problem-solving tool. For me,
his hands really don't look good. He really looks sick, severely anemic.
he was my biggest nemesis. It was the problem I had to solve for.
So what Bryan talks about is the goal of the autonomous self, where you become a system that just follows a protocol. This is why everything in Bryan's day is automated. From his morning pills to his workout plan to the food he eats, he simply needs to get up and follow the routine. And the more you can automate things in your life, meal prepping, to-do lists, workout plans, the easier it becomes to stick to healthy habits.
Yeah, we can nerd out about sleep stuff.
That's the thing, you don't need to stick to healthy habits. Healthy habits come naturally because everything that's natural is healthy for us, which is why we don't need motivation to do anything that's good for us. He could be perfectly healthy and actually reverse his aging, or at least stop it as much as possible. If he would live an actually stress-free life, he would start eating raw animal foods, and he would go out into the sun, because that's really something that he's missing.
Continues.
Nothing makes me happier than when people beat me. I'm close to my first 30 days of perfectness. I've got 2 nights in the past 30 nights I haven't got perfect sleep.
Wow.
But
Okay, you might have beat me on that.
yeah.
So one of my questions for you is, do you rage? Do you party?
I want to film a Blueprint Rager. Shots of extra virgin olive oil, 80 decibel music, and I have to make sure that the music's too loud.
The red lights.
Yeah. If you establish the culture and the rules of the game, everyone's cool.
I wonder why he doesn't want the music to be too loud. Is it because of stress? Because that would be very ironic, considering how he lives.
With no rule of the game.
And so that's what you're doing, is you're establishing new rules for people to play in a game that you've decided is most optimal.
And that's the reason why our channel exists. A lot of people feel like that, where they're like, I want to improve my life, I want to live healthier, but those are my friends.
That's right.
What do we connect on? I think a lot of us went through that period where we're like ostracized, but then eventually we found each other and we built a new group, and hopefully we can make that easier for other people. How often do you work out?
About an hour every day. I try to flex and stretch every muscle of the body. I never get sore. So I'm sure I'm probably missing out on some gains to be made, but really I'm focused on my speed of aging as my marker.
Which makes zero sense, because as I said already a million times, the more stress you have in your life, the faster you're going to age. There's absolutely no doubt about this. This is absolute intuition, which he obviously doesn't listen to. And that's just how nature works. The more you do in general, the worse you're going to be off, the more you're going to age. It's absolutely illogical and actually really dumb to believe that the more you do, the less you're going to age. Working out 1 hour a day is torture. He obviously hates it because his dark eye circles are getting worse and worse, really terrible. And in a few years, if he's going to continue, which I don't believe, even in a few months, he's going to look so terrible, dark eye circle wise, that nobody's going to listen to him at all anymore. Everybody's going to see that what he's doing is an absolute failure.
Trying to slow that to maximum. So I'm not trying to hit certain levels of athletic performance. And the routine I have works. You're working on the backward knee flexion. So pull backwards, one at a time. Yep, there you go. Most people work on forward motion versus the backward, and it's fantastic for knee stability.
You know, his workouts make sure every muscle, joint, tendon gets moved to slow deterioration, whereas my workouts are just for building muscle, and I have to eat a
Yeah, and both of you are stupid slaves.
lot of calories for that. More food.
Yeah, and the more food you eat, the more you're going to age. There's been tons of studies to prove this. Actual studies, not the garbage science that Bryan is using. If he's so into science, then why doesn't he do something that's been actually proven to help with longevity?
Actually means more accumulated damage to the body, which is actually terrible for longevity. And maybe that shows in the true age test that I took. I got my biological age test results back. Now let's see if I'm old or not. Intrinsic age is 39? Wow. What the fuck? So it says my biological age is 39. What's yours?
I'm older than you, 46.
You're 46? Why are you so chill about this?
I'm aging at a pace of 0.86, so I've slowed down my rate of aging.
When I talked to Ryan, the founder of True Diagnostics, he told me that my immune cells were different than normal at the point of testing, which is probably why I got such a high number. Maybe because I was sick at the time, and I should retest again.
This would make me worried, and I didn't see something else on this report, but I do see something else on this report, which makes me doubt the authenticity of this particular metric.
He also shared that the most important factor to look at is the rate of aging, and mine was 0.92.
Think about it, Bryan Johnson, like he was a lot older than he is currently now biologically. It's literally just about doing the things that heal your body.
And again, it's easy to think that what he's doing is not accessible to us, but it is. Because I went to visit Dr. Stickler, a longevity expert here in Austin, and he offers a lot of the things that Bryan does to his patients, but way cheaper. And he told me about some really exciting tools that are becoming accessible to all of us and will change our life dramatically.
What's at the forefront of the health industry?
I think the best thing is the plasma dilution therapy. It's a plasmapheresis machine. Draws the blood out, spins it down, takes the plasma off, and returns your red cells. It takes out inflammatory cytokines. It will take out aging markers is the theory that we're looking at. Rapamycin is...
You're absolutely messing around with nature and biology. That can only go wrong. It always will.
Is a little capsule. People take it once a week. There's a lot of evidence that it actually prolongs health.
I already talked about this. It's an absolute poison, quite literally.
Healthy longevity. I don't know if you remember a show called The Island, but they would pee in the toilet in the morning and it would give them an assessment and alter their diet that they were going to be given for the day and other things. So it's immediate feedback, and I think we're getting there.
Because of people like Bryan, who pour...
The only diet that you should be eating should be your natural food. What better than natural food can there be?
in so much money. All these things that Bryan is doing are becoming available to us. This is what they call democratization, meaning there's more money pouring in, more companies are launching, products get better and better, and every year things are getting cheaper.
Interventions we did in 2010 that would cost $5,000 are now like $200. The amount of time to double knowledge took about 15 years. By 2012, it was down to like 2 years. 2019, it was down to 7 months.
And then with AI, that's probably exponentially accelerated.
Yeah.
This is something to get excited about.
Right, cities, electricity, AI, that's all good for humans. That's basically what they're saying.
But until then, what can we actually do?
The everyday person that doesn't have $2 million a year to spend, what advice would you give them?
People want to do things in their life that improve their life. Sometimes they'll focus on the things they have control over. They want to buy a
He looks so horrible.
Really, it's the bigger issue that counts. Can they get their sleep to be right size? Like, can they actually get high quality sleep? Can they avoid eating a bag of Doritos? Can they avoid the excessive self-destruction? Like, it's like the big things in life are the biggest power laws. The other things are just higher level stuff that will come later in time.
My top 4 longevity pieces is nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress.
Nutrition, yeah, sure. Natural food. Exercise, no. Horrible. Sleep is absolutely important. That's the only thing that he gets right. But what did he mean with stress, I wonder?
60% of longevity is related to lifestyle.
For now, the best thing that we can do is stay as healthy as possible with the things we already know. Doing the basics, automating what you...
If he meant that you should have less stress, which I hope he meant, then how would exercise fit into that? He says exercise and stress, except if he's one of those people who believes that stressing your body is good for you. The more stress you have, the more you're going to adapt to stress, which is going to age you more, but somehow delusionally they believe that it's going to do the so-called opposite.
Getting tested frequently. But the real question is, do we have to die? Because we may reach longevity escape velocity, meaning that we may live long enough to get access to the discoveries, technologies that allow us to reverse aging and maybe even live forever. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, sure, live forever with machines, AI, pills, vegetables. Back in the day, not even so long ago, we understood that to live forever, we have to live like vampires, which is essentially what we are naturally. We have to drink a lot of blood from specific sources, let's just say. But nowadays, it's as if all of that is lost. Okay, that was the whole video anyway. I learned more about why he is the way he is and why he's destroying his body. As I said, it's going to lead to absolute destruction of his body, which he doesn't understand. He's looking worse and worse. Maybe there will be more videos in the future. If you guys want to see more, I'm gonna do more. I can assure you that he's gonna look even worse in a few months from now even. The dark eye circles are gonna get worse. His body fat, I guess, can't get any lower. It already looks horrible. His wrinkles are gonna get deeper and so on. Absolute deterioration of the body. Thanks for watching.